Greetings. I am Mayor, formerly Administer Mayor, the duly elected and qualified Mayor of Ponyville. I have to say, it is nice to be interviewed when things are quiet for a change, though that doesn't tend to last long in this town. What's it like to be the mayor of Celestia's favorite little town? I know it seems like we get a lot of favors and funding from Catcher Labs, but the princess loves every pony equally. We just get more because we needed more. We're a town with two after having to weather rabbit stampedes, an Ursa Minor attack, an unscheduled storm, a pear spray infestation, and a smoke-belching dragon, all in the space of a year and a half. The element bearers? Yes, they're respected citizens, but I only really know them on a professional level. Aside from Applejack, I suppose, and that's mostly due to her being a member of Ponyville's founding family. So we meet often during founding days, just as her grandfather and parents have always done until fate took them away. In any case, it's not like I have any real interest in politics. Yes, I was the one who came up with Mayor Duwell's name. The younger generation needs more positive role models, and I thought it was clever on my part to take a phrase that meant some pony untrustworthy and spin it into a positive image. Did I know it was Rainbow Dash's friends before the parade? No comments. What do you expect? I'm a politician. Deception's all part of the game. Not that I intentionally broke promises I'd made when I was running, but circumstances often change expectations. When I first ran for office, I promised to replace all the hay-thatched roofing in town with tile to reduce a fire hazard. But then when I saw the whole budget, I realized to do so I would have to seriously cut back on essential road building efforts. I apologized for not keeping that promise, and I gained a reputation for putting aside the demands of others and myself to do what is best for all. Nightmare Night? Well, you must realize that as mayor, I have been part of Ponyville's Nightmare Night celebration for many years, and only knew Nightmare Moon as a boogeyman that was used as an excuse for fools to stay up for a night of fun. When she appeared during the Summer Sun celebration in place of Princess Celestia, I was too shocked to realize the mythical monster we appease with candy once a year was the one proclaiming the eternal night. I didn't actually expect Celestia's guards to follow my orders, I just needed to do something. I think they probably would have attacked her anyway, for all the good it would have done us. When Celestia returned along with the sister every pony had forgotten about, and asked, not ordered but asked, that we continue the Summer Sun celebration to welcome Princess Luna back, we were all more than happy to oblige. So when she came back during the next year's Nightmare Night, just after Zecora had finished telling the old story, it became far more like Nightmare Moon than she did the last time she was in Ponyville, blowing out our eardrums with a royal voice that hadn't been used in centuries. We all panicked. After the events of the night ended, I tried to apologize to her. But that wasn't what you wanted to know? Why did I think a clown costume would be scary? Clowns are scary! About 20 years ago, I asked my daughter what would be the scariest thing other than Nightmare Moon, and she said clowns. Why do you look so shocked to hear I have a family? I suppose I do act rather married to my job, but I assure you I love my husband and daughter with all my heart. That their work and background administration leads to us often crossing paths is simply an added bonus. I fell in love with Rigid Rule's mind as well as his grey coat and light mane. We first met as foals, him, Raven, and me, after we'd all just moved to Ponyville. The town had only been founded about 30 years prior, and our families came in with the first trains. We were all the new kids in town and just fell in with each other, only in Ridge's case our friendship deepened into love. When we both got a scroll key mark, mine closed and his open, I just felt it might have been fate. We all found our way into the town's government after we grew up. Raven Inkwell and I both worked in the town hall as aides until I first got elected. I must be doing something right since I've won re-election every time. Bridget is the chair stallion of the town legislature, and he's just as busy as ever writing city laws that I either sign or veto. We sometimes have fights and I choose the latter option and something he put a lot of work into. My daughter was born executive function, but changed her name to Fair Ruling after she found her calling-in-law and got a gavel key mark. First as a lawyer and now as Ponyville's resident judge, all without me or my husband's help, thank you very much. She may be a grown mare now, but I'll always think of her as my baby. Getting to hold that little green filly with the bare spreading of her red mane for the first time may well be the happiest moment of my life. She married a business stallion, Free Enterprise, who is often out of town for work. Any pony can tell you they are head over heels for each other even now. The three of us still get together for dinner once a week as a family. The first standing rule is that we don't talk about work at the table. It's our time to not be the pillars of the community and just another family in it. The second is that Bridget and I can only ask Fair about her and her husband giving us grandfuls once in the entire meal, and must let it go after that. I'm not worried. I know she can feel her own biological clock ticking, and it's only a matter of time until she listens to it. Sometimes Raven or Free Enterprise joins us, but mostly it's been the three of us since Fair was born, and the two of us since Bridget and I were married. I'm sorry, I seem to have something in my eye. What were you saying? Day the world was unzipped, as I've come to call it. Everything seems to come back to that lately, doesn't it? It seems like it's going to be just another day at work, though I'm looking forward to that private meeting this afternoon so Bridget and I can review policy. Being the mayor does have a purpose. It's strange weather. Maybe some pony in Cloudsdale's playing a joke on us. Now there are changes happening to the local plants and animals. The town's starting to panic. Town hall's filled with ponies all frightened about what's happening. The sun and moon changing positions like the princesses were drunk. Roses turning to soap, houses lifting up in the sky, the ground turning into a chessboard, buffalo dancing ballet through the middle of town, pigs flying. The list seems never ending. I tell them I'll hold an emergency session with the Legislative Council to determine a course of action. I go to my office to gather a few documents. Now Raven is tearing up my office like a mad bear. Her colors have faded to shades of gray, and her eyes look crazed in a way I've never seen on her. Raven? She didn't even look at me. Much easier, much easier. No one cares about what we do, so tear it all down! I had left her there, had to find Rigid. Whatever is happening to the town, I have to make sure my family is okay. Meeting hall has devolved into bedlam. Most of the council is either attacking each other or acting like children. Above them, my husband is at the speaker's podium with the same faded colors and maddened eyes. All in favor of repealing every law in Ponyville? Aye. All opposed? The council continued in their dementias. The ayes have it. He then leapt down and looked at me like a crazed animal from the Everfree Forest. Ready or not, Minnie, here I come! He's going to force himself on me. My Richard would have never in his right mind ever considered that. I ran and barricaded the door behind me, locking my husband in with the other 9 ponies on the council. I can only hope that he's only interested in mating with me and not willing to have his way with any mare he comes across. I ran out of town hall just before it levitated into the sky and turned upside down, and was greeted by sheer pandemonium. The rich's daughter is a doll dancing to some unheard melody, Twist stretching and twisting her neck and limbs around everything. Aloe and Lotus were joined in the middle with a head at each end, trying to run in different directions to get away. But nothing could have prepared me for what I'm seeing now. Fair Ruling, my sweet little baby, has become a unicorn. She's levitating in gavel and sound block, but her coat's also grayed out. She looked sharply at Truffle Shuffle, who was looking at Twist with worry. You, she snarled. You've been sneaking treats after dinner. How did... Guilty! She banged the gavel against the sound block, and suddenly a cage just big enough to hold the colt appeared around him. She then turned to Alula, who was flying in a very clumsy manner. You walked on a lawn with a keep off the grass sign. My wings, they have mine of their own. Guilty! Another bang in another cramped cage. Alula was still banging up and down inside it. She looked at Flitter and Blossomforth, both quickly flying around and stepping on flowers, making buzzing noises like bees. Speeding! Guilty! They were each cramped in separate cages, still buzzing merrily. I couldn't bear to look at Fair anymore. I could still hear her as she kept banging that gavel, throwing a tantrum over the most minor offenses while ignoring mad ponies attacking others. As I turned, I noticed the sound of my hoof falls seemed heavier than usual. I finally catch sight of my reflection in a nearby window and see that my body's turned to living stone. I thought you'd love it, hums a large scroll that looks like my cutie mark. I know I said earlier that I don't turn ponies to stone, but living stone isn't quite the same thing. Same goes for the gold and silver statues I've been planning for those princesses. Don't you just love minor semantical differences? They look just like the statue you're never going to get. I have no idea what this girl's talking about. Nobody else seems to notice it. I don't care about statues. I just want our little town back to normal. With everything else happening around me, I didn't think speaking to a floating version of my cutie mark was that out there. You certainly care a lot for me. Too bad they don't care at all about the hard work you do. Of course they care. They keep voting for me. They must think I'm doing a good job. Funny little thing about democracy. When you've only got one candidate, you only get one choice. Who was the last pony to run against you? I tried to answer back. My mind drew a blank. Has it really been that long since I had an opponent in an election? Have I always run unopposed? The only reason they keep giving you the job is because they want some pony else to make all the big decisions so they can go on with their meaningless little lives. And the sad thing is, you could have done so much more if only you didn't waste your talents on this unappreciative little town. You might have made it all the way to the Equestrian Grand Parliament, or even an administrative position in Canterlot. Jobs where all your big ideas on how to improve others' lives would have been noticed and acclaimed. But alas, you chose to settle in a town that doesn't care what's done, as long as some pony else did. The only monument to your work is going to be your tombstone. Not that any pony is going to remember what you did. I feel like I just found out I had been trying to bail water out of a leaking boat with a thimble. A whole life dedicated to improving the lives of ponies that couldn't have cared less about what I do. Only that they weren't the ones doing it. It's suddenly all clear to me. This tiny little town has only been holding me back all this time. I know so many ways equestrian government could have been run better. I wasted away on my life with all these good-for-nothing bumpkins. All I had to show for years of service was endless paperwork, non-stop complaining, a husband with no ambition, and a daughter who was too stupid to realize the only reason there's next to no cases for her to hear is because I foolishly coddled the laziest citizens in all of Equestria. I looked at my reflection again, and I could see the monument I was denied. Yes, I deserve that statue. Yes, I deserve streets and public buildings named after me. Yes, I deserve the highest office I could get. Yes, I deserve to go down in history. And the only thing that has ever kept any of that from me was Ponyville. I wish my parents had never dragged me to the Celestia forsaken manure pits. Mr. Waddle was dragging himself to where I was standing, bleeding from an arrow sticking out of his leg. Miss Mayor, we need your help, he asked me. I noticed I was holding a megaphone. Where it came from doesn't concern me. I'm going to put it to good use. My help? I yelled through the device. Why don't you ask Princess Celestia's precious pet bookworm? At least you appreciate her, you geezer! I turned my attention to all the ponies around who were either mad or suffering. I every one of them deserved it. And that goes for all of you miserable cretin. I slaved away my life for you, and I could have been some pony. This town is the biggest waste of oxygen on the planet. I could have been the most important political figure in Equestria next to Celestia herself if I didn't delude myself into thinking any single one of you morons were important. I ranted and raved like that for the better part of the day, uttering every wasted opportunity and vile insult that came to mind. What do I care if these hicks get their feelings hurt? Then comes the rainbow, and with it salvation. My stone becomes flesh again, the megaphone vanishes, and mind returns to me, along with the realization of what I had been doing, what I was letting happen. No, please, I didn't mean any of it. Please, hear me. I was relieved that no pony in town was permanently harmed, at least physically. Over the following days, I threw myself at my work. I was determined to make up for everything I said, and more importantly, my inaction. I just had to prove that I did care for Ponyville, even if it meant I had to cancel our family dinner 2 weeks in a row. After a week of 14-hour days, my therapist forced me to take a day off. I begrudgingly took the day to catch up on my shopping, then spent an afternoon relaxing and reading in a lawn chair. Next thing I knew, the whole town was fighting over some raggedy old doll, but so mesmerizingly beautiful that I just had to have it for myself. Then the princess herself shows up and brings us all back to our senses. Again, the second time in a week. Naturally, seeing how easy it was for the town to fall apart in my absence did little to encourage me to slow down. It wasn't until another week later that Applejack swung by with words of support. She thanked me for everything I'd done for the town, and gave me a much-needed reminder that the ponies of this town knew I cared. It wasn't until I brought it up with my therapist later that I realized how closely she paralleled worries I had only ever muttered to myself. That, finally, convinced me to relax a little, to trust the town and my reputation to not explode the moment I looked away. Richard never told me what he did with the council members I locked him in with. I would never blame him for any of it, though, not with the state we were all in. He buried himself in his work, too, and not just in the town council. First thing he did was undo his solo repeal of our every law. The vote was unanimous. After that, he poured himself over the local legislator, searching for laws that were no longer dated or needed to be updated. He claimed he just wanted to make the law book more streamlined, but I know he was just looking for more work. And that was just around town hall. At home, he attacked our honeydew list like everything on it was an emergency. What's a honeydew list? Oh, it's just a list of irregular chores around the house that need to get done. Like, honey, would you clean the gutters? Or, honey, that floorboard is squeaking again. The things stallions tend to put off until it starts affecting them. Suddenly, rules couldn't get enough of them. He was also uneasy around other mares, especially me, like we were made of glass and he was afraid of breaking us. It reminds me somewhat of one of the legends from the Age of Myths, about a vain pig who used her magic cloak to turn the world into glass until a brave group of ponies taught her that there was more to life than vanity. Fair, on the other hand, went more in the opposite direction. I remember a while ago I went to the courthouse to get her opinion on a new proposition, but when I tried to wait in the courtroom gallery, the bailiff stood in my way. Madam Mayor, have you seen her honor fair ruling? No, I was just looking for her. The defense attorney, a blue stallion with a spiky black mane and a cutie mark of a phoenix in front of a sunflower, groaned. We both presented our arguments, and she said she would come back with a verdict after a 15-minute recess. That was over an hour ago, finished the prosecution, a maroon unicorn with a neatly styled gray mane and a white knight on his rump. I promised I'd look for her and went to my daughter's chambers. I knocked twice, heard nothing, opened it myself, and found nothing but an open window. Thanks to Celestia, her office is on the first floor. I ran off and found her in the first place I checked, a nearby park we used to take her to when she was a filly. She was sitting under our favorite picnic tree, bawling harder than she had in years. Fair? I can't do it anymore, she said between sobs. After what I did, I can't make a judgment that might make an innocent pony's life worse, or even ruin it completely. Fair, what I saw that day wasn't you. I know, that snake messed me up too. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get over it, but I'm trying to make up for it. I want to go back to how it was before. You should too. What if I make the wrong choice? I just can't risk hurting some pony. Tivy, I called her by her childhood nickname. Remember how you took longer than most fillies to find your cutie mark? You were more worried about how it reflected badly on me and your father than the teasing your classmates put you through. But when you finally did earn your mark, you told me it was because you wanted to help settle arguments quickly but fairly, so those fighting could go back to being friends. Can't think of a more noble way to use your gift. I know. I still have to use the gavel, and I can't even look at it or my cutie mark without breaking chills. That would explain why she'd been wearing her judge's robe outside of the courtroom. I'm thinking about going on a sabbatical, clear my head and spend some time with free enterprise. You think that would be a good idea, Mom? I wasn't sure at the moment. Richard and I had been trying to give as much as we could back to the community, hoping to get our old selves back along the way. Fair, however, was worried about her ability to do her job, and felt she needed time before she could get back to it. Think that Fair, Richard, and I had hardly spent any time together since that day. No wonder something still felt wrong. Fair, I think you should discuss this with me and your father tonight. Family dinner, just 3 of us. Like we used to. I'd like that. Now you'd better get back and tell those poor lawyers you need to recuse yourself. Okay. Thanks, Mom. She raced off back to the courthouse, and I went about making preparations. I had made Bridget's favorite vegetable soup and had gotten the strawberry cake from Sugar Cube Corner, the kind that was Fair's favorite as me. So we all sat at the table. We should have done this sooner. So, Fair, Bridget asked her. His chair sat directly across from me and Fair, a little afraid of losing control around us. If you go on this vacation, what are you planning to do? I don't know, she shrugged. Maybe head to Canterlot with Free Enterprise. You could take in a show or visit a few of the museums. Sounds nice. On the other half, maybe I should see if Free could come back home, just in case there's an emergency. Well, which is it? I asked. I was hoping that you could both help me with this. I don't want to make a bad decision. Fair, of course you can make a good decision. Why, just a few months ago... Then I stopped. I almost broke rule number 1. You were making decisions that left everybody happy. Fair seemed to be mulling it over. I wish I could do better, but I still felt a little broken inside myself. Bridget took the moment to chip in. So I heard that Travel Shuffle got his key mark a few weeks ago. Turns out he's just as good as cooking food as he is at eating it. Anyway, since his grandfather and I are old friends, I thought maybe we should all go to his Mark Mitzvah. It does sound lovely, I answered. Fair, however, started to look a little gloomier. Yeah, I'm sure he'd love a visit from the mayor who locked him in a cage so small he couldn't move. Things got very quiet at points. There just didn't seem to be that much to talk about other than work, which as a rule we didn't talk about. What Discord put us through, which none of us wanted to talk about ever. So where did that leave us? So, about those grand foals. Dinner turned out to be a disaster. After my daughter invoked rule number 2, we just spent the time eating and occasionally tried talking about the weather or the performance of the Canterlot comic against Belzimere last week. Fair left after dessert, saying it was wonderful, and Richard loved a soup, but we never really talked like we used to. That night felt chillier than usual, and it wasn't because Richard wanted to sleep in the guest room again. I was having trouble remembering the last time we were intimate. How could I have been so selfish? Instead of opening up with each other about that day, we tried to keep up with appearances, telling ourselves it was for the good of the community. How could I possibly be a good mayor if I allowed the ponies closest to me to drift away? Next day I went to work, hiding my gloom behind a mask of confidence. Many ponies were finally starting to get better, and the last thing they needed was a leader that was a visible wreck. The morning started out normally enough, a request to be at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new public swimming pool, a few requests for the town budget. Nothing extraordinary, except for the continued search for Diamond Tiara. I was just coming back from a meeting with the zoning board when Farrah came galloping in, gasping for breath. Birds, the beast, wolf. Hey, Judge Rowling, calm down, Bridget told her, still upholding the decorum of our offices. Explain what's going on, slowly. There's strange fog over in Ponyville. Any pony that touches it turns into a foal. What? I exclaimed. That isn't all. There are these birds and rabbits that are going around, and they're hypnotizing any pony they meet into going into the fog. They look like the Chaos Beasts and then messing with their minds again. A very audible gasp came from those in the main foyer. I decided it was best if Fair, Bridget, and I continued the discussion in my office. How bad is it? I asked once I closed the doors. It's already got half the town, maybe more. And the element bearers? No pony has seen them since this morning. I knew that every pony around would be looking to me to make a decision, and I knew it was going to be the hardest one I've ever made. We need to evacuate Ponyville. We'll head to Canterlot and try to bring as many ponies as we can with them. We can't evacuate, Bridget said. Bridget, I know this town means as much to you as it does to me. No, I mean we literally can't evacuate. Look! He pointed his hoof out the window. I looked out, and to my horror, the fog was closing around Town Hall like a coiling serpent around a mouse. It was even spreading high into the air, something I know fog doesn't naturally do. I knew at that point there was no escape. Ever since last year's Summer Sun celebration, whenever there was a real crisis threatening the town, I was helpless. What good is a civic leader who can't do anything when it matters most? The fog directly shot down from overhead, and I braced myself for what I thought would be more mind-twisting lies. Instead, there was an almost familiar voice that seemed to just radiate kindness. There, Mayor Man. You work so hard for every pony. It must be tiring being so responsible all the time. Why don't you rest now? Mother will take care of everything. All you need to do is show the others how wonderful this will all be. They'll look up to you so much. Let go of all that responsibility. Just listen to my song. Day to night, dark to light, fall the sands of time. Let the years, like the gears of a clock, unwind. In your mind, walk through time, back to better days. Memories such a pretty song. Princess Gaia is so kind to sing it to us. Why is my collar so big? Why is my mane dyed gray? I always preferred my usual magenta. I should wash out this boring color next chance I get. My humor looks more like a crayon drawing now. Feels like it's better this way. You look goofy, Minnie. I turned to the gray colt next to me with a light blue mane wearing a necktie that was too big for him. So do you, really? Oh, what a scary moan! Ruli and I looked where it was coming from and saw a black ghost. Oh, my Princess Gaia, help! Save us, your kindesty! Ghost seemed to collapse to the ground. Ooh! Cried a light green filly with a red mane, wearing a collar too big for her. Ghost was just her robes that were covering her like a blanket. I was so mad. Tivy, that wasn't nice. Her kindesty doesn't like jokes that scare ponies, Ruli added. Tivy blushed. I'm sorry, Mama. Silly. I put my foreleg around Tivy. All's forgiven. Princess Gaia is our mama now. From now on, we're sisters. And I'm your brother, Ruli said, sticking out his chest. We were all giggled right then. Come on, I said. Ray Ray's missing out on all the fun. After I washed that boring dye out of my mane, we started trotting out of town hall and found almost all of our friends waiting for us. Should I let them know how wonderful I feel? Every pony, let's all hear it for her kindness, Princess Gaia! They all cheered back at me. Her kindness was right. They do look up to me. I see them all around me. Filthy Rich is skinnier than I remember, but those big eye bags are gone now. Carrot Cake and Cupcake had frosting all over their mouths. Hope they saved some for the rest of us. Funny, why does it feel like something's missing from Cupcake? Probably not important. There's Ray Ray, Ruli said. Why is she running away? Well, this won't do. It just wouldn't be as fun without my best friend. Raving, come play at once, I said, trying to sound like a grown-up so she would listen. Kinda silly now that I hear myself say it. No! Then she just turned and ran away again. It hurt my feelings. My best friend doesn't want to play with me? I felt a hope on my shoulder. Don't worry, Mama. I mean, Minnie. Her kindesty will get her to see how much fun she's missing. Thanks, Tivy. We waited for a little while, and soon Ray Ray came out, finally little like the rest of us. Hey, Minnie Mare! She waved at me, just like old times. Hey, Ray Ray! I gave her a noogie. Not a real hard one. Hey, Uncle! Ray Ray laughed. Gotcha! Thanks for being such a fraidy cat, I said, laughing right back. I'm sorry. We hugged, then we made a special best friends handshake. I then looked at everyone, all the little folds of our town, our family. By order of our super duper kindest Princess Gaia, I declare today an everyday play day. We're free! Tilly Winks opened a toy store and said everything was free as long as we shared. The cakes went and got all sorts of cookies and pastries for everyone, while Dr. Hoops got a whole bunch of ice cream from his little blue shed that we found out is a lot bigger on the inside. Ray Ray was a little worried we'd all get bellyaches, but I was sure Mama would fix that. A few of us took some fireworks to tear down that bad club I never liked, but let's still be up for that freedom, because every pony should be able to say what they feel. Little Waddle scraped himself, but Little Red Heart patched him up, then they both ran off somewhere. Hey, let's play Pony in the Middle, Ray Ray said. That game's my favorite, Ruli answered. I called on it, I said. Hey, can I play too? Said a colt coming over our way. He had a brown coat with a scruffy straw-colored mane. His key mark was now a crayon-colored line graph that was going up. Tivy ran over and gave him a hug. Freddie, what are you doing here? Almost put her kindness to Manhattan, but when she heard that I missed U Fair, she let one of her nice dragons give me a ride home. Just call me Tivy. Okay, Tivy. We all had a lot of fun playing games and using Tiddly's toys. Then her kindesty told us that there was this fun park in the Everkind Forest, and we were all invited. Sparkler and Mama's Knight stayed behind in case Ditsy Doo or the Squeak wanted to play. Forest wasn't that far away. I took the lead with Ray Ray by my side. Ruli was right behind me, and Tivy and Free were catching up a little behind us. Taking lead just seems natural to me. Not because I want to tell others what to do, but because I want what makes every pony happy. A bunch of cute sunbirds flew over us. One at the back was a different color. The way it was flying was funny. Then I heard another pretty song, but some pony else was singing it. My little pony, isn't the world a lovely place? My little pony, everywhere you go, a smiling face. Sunny and pleasant, each day is a present, no sign of trouble in sight. My little pony, may all your days be bright. Then the boys called to look for her, but we couldn't find her. Then we looked ahead again and saw this older filly with a white coat and pink mane. 3 smiling suns were on our flanks. Whoa, you're pretty. Thank you. Hello, ponies. Do you want to play with me? We'd love to, but Mama Princess Gaia kinda promised us a field trip through Everkind Forest, and we get to be the first in line to our new fun park. Oh, I'm sure she won't mind if you take the time to make a couple new friends first. I'm Sunny Day. Nice to meet all of you. Can you please all tell me your names? Well, I'm Minnie Mare. This is my best friend Ray Ray, and this... Have everyone introduce themselves, please. It's so much fun to introduce yourself instead of having someone else do it. Oh, okay. It's wonderful to personally meet each and every one of you, Sunnyday declared, sounding more delighted than any pony had a right. And there's some pony I want you all to meet too. He's a member of my family. I love him very much. He has trouble around other ponies. You can come out now, dear. A white unicorn colt came out of hiding. He seems so scared, but why would that? Her kindness makes the forest better. Hi, I'm Blueblood. Prince Blueblood. Rita Smith came closer to Red. I've never heard of a Prince Blueblood. Nice to meet ya. Wanna play? What? No, I can't. I mean... Sunnyday whispered something to Prince Blueblood. But my instructors say I'm not allowed to play with other ponies. Well, today's an exception. Whoopee! Sunnyday tossed a bunch of balls into the air. Catch them if you can! I chased after one with Ray, Ruli, Tivy, and Free. Feels like we all met for the first time all over again. Ruli went off to play with some of the cult a little more, and Tivy wanted to play with Free by herself, but we gave each other a big hug before that. I didn't mind. Everybody is so friendly. Ponyville has got to be the very best place in the whole world. The sun had just started to go down. I'm sorry, every pony. Looks like playtime is over. I came a little closer to her. Aww, does it have to be? Yes, I'm sorry, dear. I'm afraid it has to. I'm very sorry, dear. I know that it would be nice if it didn't have to end, but Minnie, nothing lasts forever. But I think this day has done each of you some good. She nuzzled me. It felt like a hug from Mom. And you all did have fun with your best friends, right? I thought about all the fun we had today, just being with Ray, Ruli, and Tivy, not needing to do anything but enjoy life. Yeah, I did. You and Ray both did. There, then this day wasn't a waste. I think being without your troubles for a day has done you some good indeed. What troubles? I don't get it. I decided to keep her happy. I want you to know, you and all of you are my very bestest friends. No matter what happens, do not forget that. I feel sleepy. I'm sure her Coyote will understand that we didn't go to our park today. I said goodbye to Ray and every pony else. Then I started to go home with Ruli, Tivy, and Free. Fog's almost gone now, but I'm sure we'll have just as much fun tomorrow. Now the world seems like a smaller place. My sense of inadequacy seems to be creeping back into my brain after being ripped out of me. I look over to Rigid, and he seems more world-weary as well. There and Free are also looking round, confused. Was it all a dream? How could it be if Free was right here with us? Either way, I feel so tired. We wordlessly went to our houses to try and fall into a dreamless sleep. The next day I knew for sure what happened was real, but at the same time I felt better for the experience. With no offices to worry about or personal demons haunting us during that day, our family just seemed to come together naturally. Celestia's announcement about the next few days being in Fluttershy's honor helped to get my mind back up. But not like it's been since that day. I felt energetic about it again. Princess Gaia was in charge for a day, and it was the simple things that made it wonderful. We tend to get so entangled in the big problems, we forget how the small things can improve our lives. We managed to clean up most of the mess left by Princess Gaia's day of fools by the end of the morning. Winks got most of her inventory back, minus a few toys that were broken. The cakes weren't as concerned with all the baked goods we gorged ourselves on as they were with how a powerful magical entity might have affected their unborn child, twice now. But the doctor just smiled and revealed that they were carrying a perfectly healthy set of twins. As for the doctor, well, although we appreciate the contribution, I'm going to contribute the physics-defying shed as a part of a fool's overactive imagination. Free Enterprise was going to stay in town for the festivities. His bosses understood, given they experienced the same thing as the rest of us. I mostly stayed out of the spotlight. It was Fluttershy's day after all. The pony who threw the stone at Fluttershy actually confessed to me. No, I won't tell any pony their identity. Turns out they let their feelings overwhelm them for just a moment, and they didn't even realize what they had done until it had already happened. I suggested that they gave Fluttershy a private apology, and then let everything go after that. That night, however, we had another family dinner, this time with Raven and Free coming over. It was like old times again, just laughing and talking about the little things. Farrah decided that she and Free should take her sabbatical in Canterlot. Farrah said she didn't need it to recover, but she actually started thinking about her and Free having a baby, and she wanted to take some time off to decide. And Rigid? Well, let's just say that night we really made up for lost time. Well, that was weeks ago, and things are more or less back to normal for us. Just this morning, Rigid, Fair, and I were going over a project to find mentors for at-risk fools when we saw Pinkie Pie merrily bouncing down the streets, and just the image brought a smile to all our faces. It reminded me of something that can often be forgotten in the coastal area. A town, and to a greater extent a country, is not just some lands, buildings, and roads. Those are things a town needs. What makes up a town are the ponies who live there, and the lives they lead. We are a family of families. When one hurts, we all cry. When one of us is in trouble, we all pitch in to help, and when one of us is happy, we all smile. And discord be damned, I won't forget that ever again.